This is Root Literacy Design, where we share stories, tips, and tools from current educators successfully implementing the science of reading and structured literacy. I'm Heather Ballantyne, the founder and CVO, and a current literacy coach. Please take a moment to like our channel and subscribe so we can keep helping other educators like you.
So today I'm going to talk about the 6 syllable types, and I'm going to use a poster that I created to do this. This poster was actually created because a teacher that I work with who is doing RTI for 5th and 6th graders said she really wanted to be able to have one thing that shows the students all of the phonograms for the syllable types, including advanced ones. And she wanted to be able to show students continually where they were, what concepts they had mastered, what they were still working on, and how much more there was to go. And this is really important because especially older students who've been struggling to read for a really long time, many of them their entire academic career, it is really hard for them to know how many times they're going to hear, we're going to do one more thing, and here's another vowel team, and here's another concept, and they start to wonder, well, like, how many are there? It's equivalent to me saying, do you want to go for a run, and not telling you how far we're going to run. Your first thought is going to be, how long is the run? There's a big difference between going a quarter of a mile with me, a mile, 5 miles, are we doing a marathon? And a lot of times the stress and the anxiety is not coming from a place of, the work ahead. It's coming from a place of not knowing. So as humans, we get very anxious when we don't know something. So showing students how long the reading marathon is that they're about to run is very important. And this poster is one way that you can clarify that path for them. Now, we know that the English language is made up of morphemes and syllables. It's a morpheme phonemic language, so this is only covering syllables. And syllable is a pulse of sound with a vowel in it. And I really enjoy the way that Denise Ide writes about syllables in her book, Uncovering the Logic of English. She talks about how you can find syllables by humming the word. I've been using that method for years, and it's really amazing. So if students are having a hard time counting syllables, instead of doing a jaw-dropping technique, which actually doesn't work for a lot of them, because the sound if, for example, if you say you'll feel your cheeks pull back into a grin, almost like you're smiling. Your chin doesn't drop for this sound. So a sure way to be able to tell syllables every time is to just hum the word. And you can have students cover their ears and say, ocean. How many hums was that? 2. So we know that there's 2 vowel sounds, 2 syllables. So I try to help them understand what a syllable type is as well. So a syllable type is simply a type of way that the vowel is showing up. And so here's the 6 main ways. We have closed syllables, open, vowel-consonant-e, then we have consonant-le, vowel teams, and are controlled. And so how to read this poster is this. The definition of each type is found underneath. I won't read them all to you, but you can see all of the definitions underneath. Whenever possible, I included tips to help the teacher and students. So, for example, Y says I at the end of a 1-syllable word. The mule broke the rule. This is an awesome trick I learned in my Orton Gillingham training. We know that long U has 2 sounds, U and oo, and this is a phrase that just helps students remember the key words that give you both sounds. Syllable division I included for consonant-le, so we know that if you count back 3 and divide, you can divide and read the word in that way. So table, we count back 3, we divide here, TA is open, it says a, te, and then we have the consonant-le saying bowl, table. On this side here for vowel teams, I can't remember who taught me this or where I picked it up, but over 10 years ago, I heard a good way to teach students vowel teams is to separate them into what's called the talker teams and the whiner teams. And again, been using this for years, training teachers in this method. Students love it. It's catchy. They remember it. But what it's saying is that the talker teams are the teams that clearly say a vowel sound, A, E, I, O, U. The whiner teams are not saying anything. It's like they're whining at you. And it's really fun when you're introducing this to students to talk about what does it sound like, this new sound, do you have a younger sibling or a young cousin or someone around who might be whiny and whines at you? And what does it sound like? And then you make whining noises and you're like, I don't want to go to school today, or, whatever whining they're doing. And the kids are just laughing when you're teaching this because I'm like, when kids are whining at me, I'm like, I don't understand you. Like, you're saying sounds, but you're not saying anything. What do you want? Talk to me. What do you want? And so here's our whiner sounds. Ooh, aw, oi, ow, like in cook. And then the other vowel teams are the short vowel teams. So when you're talking about this with students, it's also good to help them understand what a team is. We use that word all the time, but I ask them to turn and talk and try to come up with a clear definition. And what you want them to get to the point of explaining is that a team is a group of people who work together toward a common goal. So for example, a soccer team is a group of people who work together to get the ball into the net. A work team, if you have a team of folks you work with, you have a common goal that you're working towards, whatever that may be. As teachers, our common goal is to teach students. And so the vowel teams are groups of letters that work together to make a vowel sound. And most of you have probably heard the phrase, two vowels go walking, the first does the talking. We don't want to say that because, as this clearly shows, there are tons of vowel teams where it's not two vowels. It might be a vowel and a consonant, or, not two vowels as in there's 4 letters here. Here's more with 4 letters. And so it gets very confusing to give that as a trick because it actually doesn't work all of the time. It works about less than half the time, I would say, looking at this. I haven't counted it out, but it doesn't look like it works very often. The other thing that is important to note here, I did include this little note, job of final E, English words don't end in I, job of final E, English words don't end in U. Some programs teach IE and UE as vowel teams, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not incorrect. You can certainly do that, but what's actually going on, like in the words tie and pie and in this word rescue and true, is it's an open syllable, but English words don't end in I, J, U, and V. And so E is added at the end to these words, and that's the job of final E in these words. So again, you can teach that to students, but they really do, as vowel teams, but they really do enjoy learning tie, open syllable. Oh, but English words don't end in I need to add my E. This is also, by the way, why have and give and live have that E, although this can also be pronounced as live, and then it's a vowel consonant E. But English words don't end in V. Isn't that fun? All right, I'll erase that. The last syllable type here I'm going to talk about is the R-controlled. So we've got our sounds here, and just like everywhere else, we have the common phonograms that make that sound. So all of these spellings are ways that we spell the sound And then underneath we have example words, or you could use them as keywords. And then there's notes for you as well that are helpful. These are pronounced as air and ear. It's one sound. A lot of people think it's 2 sounds, a-er or e-er, but it's not. It's one sound, air and ear. And those are the spellings for them. Okay, I hope that you found this helpful. The other thing I'll note, this poster is available at Root Literacy Design's store. It's an 18 by 24 poster, and it is printed on styrene. It's the first one that I printed on styrene, which is, I didn't know what that was. So if you don't know what styrene is, like me, it is a thin plastic, and you could pour water on this. I think I'm actually going to make a video showing me pouring water on it. You can scratch it, you can pour water on it. It's pretty durable, and it's easy to hang in the classroom. You can use some Velcro or something like that to put it on your wall. You could staple it on your wall. It's thin, so it's durable and it will last. The last thing I want to talk about, actually, before I go, is I want to show you one way that I'm using this tool with an 8th grade MLL student I'm working with right now. So when I assessed him, I figured out he's had some prior instruction. So I saw that he has mastered the closed syllable type, the open syllable type, and the only vowel consonant E he didn't know is Y consonant E. And so I put his name here. on the poster. I actually wrote on the poster. And then I put these check marks and I circled Y consonant E. And then I circled consonant-le because he didn't know any of those. But there were some vowel teams that he knew, and there were some that he did not. And I'm making this up. I can't remember exactly which vowel teams he knew and didn't know. I do remember he knew how to read OA and OW, but he couldn't spell them. So I did something like this on the poster, S for spelling. And then as I teach him these concepts, I put a check mark. And so what this is now is a clear roadmap for him. And we look at it every single week. And every time that I teach him something, if I do a lesson on UI, we go to the poster and we put a check mark on it together. If we do EW, we go to the poster, we put, a check mark on it together. I haven't assessed all of the R controlled for him yet, so I left it blank, but I will be circling, those with him after I assess him that day. So it's a very clear visual for him of how long the run is and how much he's learned and mastered and how far he has to go. And he is so proud when we go to it. Like, we can put a check mark here now because he's mastered all of these consonant-le's, including this one, which is pretty hard because the T is silent. So that's another way that you can use this tool. So I'll be getting a new one next year for whoever I work with, and using it in this way because it's very helpful. All right. Well, I hope that this helps you, and thank you for joining us, and we'll hope to see you back here again soon at our channel. All right. Bye.